All right, guys, so we're back. So I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you're not getting views. So the first one is that your content isn't useful. So when I say useful, it doesn't mean that it's bad, but it could mean that it's not doing what it's intended to do. So for example, if you're making educational videos, they have to actually be educational. Or if you're making music, it has to be actually entertaining. The way that you tell if something is of use is if people share it and like it. Unfortunately, that's the only way we can gauge it, because of course you can have something of value that doesn't get shared out yet, but the best way to gauge early is if it's getting engagement and use out of it. I use the same example with money. The reason why money is valuable or a product might be valuable is if the market determines it. So you don't determine if it's valuable. It's determined valuable by if it's in use and it's actually doing its intended purpose. So you need to make sure that what you're creating is actually of use. That's how you're able to gauge if it's worth even creating. So you need to make sure that the thing that you're producing or making that is actually getting shares and views, because you might post a picture of something random, but if it's not getting shares, then that means it's not in demand. People don't want it. So, or you might need to start, building your way up, because people that post random stuff is because they already have a community. People already want to see it. So you need to figure out, if you're small, what do people want to see? The second thing is you don't have a community or a niche. So that's really important, because like I was mentioning before, with a lot of course creators, the problem is that they focus, or they teach people so much on how to market and be flashy, but they don't focus on the initial thing, which is making sure that people have an actual market, that people want to see stuff. And they end up creating a whole community that creates demand for course sellers, but not demand for what they need, which is a market. Because you can teach somebody to market something, but if there's no market for it, they'll just keep coming back because they don't know. So that's why the important thing is understanding that whatever you're creating, there needs to actually be a market for it. Just because you like posting pictures of maybe turtles, there might not be a market for it. So you need to figure out whatever you're posting, that there's actual community for it. There's high demand for it. If I took a picture of the ceiling, there might not be a bunch of groups that like that, so I won't get a lot of likes. But if I post pictures on maybe water fountains, there's a community for it. And if I am unique and consistent and I find a way to make it captivating because there's already a market for it, then I start to blow up. So you shouldn't be trying to recreate the wheel. The people that do that are bigger people because they already have the influence. So they can create new things and blow up. But if you're smaller, you can't do that. It just doesn't work like that, because people naturally are followers. So if a big person does it, they'll start to follow. But if you're smaller, you have to work your way up. So that was number 2. Number 3 is that your hooks aren't good. So this is really important. Like I said, you need 3 things. You need to find a market that's in demand. You need a hook to capture attention, and then unique to separate you from the pack. And that goes into pretty much not reinventing the wheel, but you need a good hook, because that's what draws attention. So what a lot of you guys are doing, you might have something that's in demand and you do it in your own way, but you don't have a good hook. And that's how people initially scroll on your stuff. So for example, if your niche is comedy, and like I said, you're unique, you're your own comedian, you need a hook. And a good hook could maybe be like a funny joke, or just an intense part of the video, maybe bright colors, something to draw attention. That's the third piece, and I think it's one of the most important parts. Now I'm gonna go into how to achieve this. So with the first part, content isn't useful. Find a niche. There's 3 big niches that I use: is health, wealth, and happiness. Health, like fitness; wealth, like how to gain wealth; and then happiness, like relationship things, health things, mental health tips. Those are the biggest ones people are always looking for, and there's always communities for them. So find an actual niche. Those are 3, for example, but there's a ton of other ones. Wherever you see the